So that's pretty much it, guys. This is just a real quick tutorial for you guys to get started at making some short films using HDRI and CG Element. This is really cool. I mean, I can animate the cameras and I can do all kinds of stuff in here. But just know your limitations, like I said, as far as camera angles. You see this house, it's skewed a little bit, so just be smart. But if you change the aperture of this and just get some really nice depth of field by increasing your focal length, I mean, everything else falls out of focus anyway, so you can really get away with this is what I'm trying to say. And if you want to increase your quality of the render, you can also create a post process. Now, I'm not going to get into too much detail, but I'm going to get you guys started so you can start messing around with this. Whenever you have ray tracing enabled, you're going to start seeing noise, and that is kind of unfortunate, but ray tracing in Unreal Engine 4 is very new. I mean, the technology itself is not very old, so we have to give them more time to improve it, but you can still get away with a lot of good stuff in when using ray tracing in Unreal Engine 4. So let's go ahead and create a post-process volume. Post-process volume is so important if you're trying to get some photorealistic look in your short film. And as you can see, that changed them quite a bit already. I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to turn it on, and I didn't even do nothing yet. So in the post-process volume here in a sequence, I'm going to go ahead and type unbound. Because what we're doing is, I want this post-processing to affect the entire world, not just a box. Because if you go and look at cinematic viewport here, I'm going to click on this. You're actually going to see that it's just a box. I don't know where it went. You know what? Oh, there it is. It's the box up there. We want the post-processing to actually affect the entire scene. And we do that by just clicking this, and that's going to affect everything. Now, I'm going to try and push this ray tracing up a little bit so you guys can see what it's doing, but we're probably going to crash. But that's a good thing. Someone asked me on how I rendered my short film that I just submitted. How did I do that? Well, how I did that was actually going to each scene and just increasing the ray tracing in each scene to see how far I can pretty much push it. So I don't know if that's a smart idea, but that's how I did it. And I'm going to show you what I'm talking about now. So in this scene here, if I was ready to render and I'm ready for the final output, what I would do is go scroll down and find the ray tracing features. And the ray tracing features are all right here. I'm going to go ahead and kind of untick everything. We're going to start with ray tracing ambient occlusion. I'm going to enable this, and my computer is probably going to start dying here pretty soon. I'm going to go ahead and turn that on and turn sample per pixel. Now, this is very important right here. The sample per pixel is pretty much quality. How much can you do? Let's look. Set the samples per pixel of ray tracing ambient occlusion. So the higher the number, the better it's gonna look. Now, for that short film that I did, the blueprint, the highest I was able to get this with, the scenes that I had, was 12, and that's pretty much it. After that, my computer would just die. So another setting that you're gonna be adjusting in ray tracing is global illumination. Click on this, click on type max bounces and sample per pixel. I'm going to click on brute force right here, and then same thing, max bounces. I mean, that's pretty much how many times does the light bounce whenever it hits something. As far as I know, that's what it means. I try to keep that to 1 or 2 because that takes a lot of computer power if you increase that a lot. So for samples per pixel, it's pretty much the same exact thing here. Push it until your render is crashing. Just make sure that you don't set your computer on fire. Okay, I don't want to get blamed for that, but typically for me, I was pushing this higher until my computer would crash, and then I would get back in there and decrease it or increase it if need be. For motion blur, what I would do here is I would just do the target FPS to 24 frames per second. I didn't mess around with this too much because it looked good. It looked good for me, to be honest. I mean, my point is, if it looks good, if it looks right, I'm going to leave it as is. I'm not going to get too crazy with it. For the reflection, this right here is what kills your computer. I'm going to turn on type, and I'm going to turn on ray tracing right here. I'm going to turn on, it's not going to be screen space because that's the other type of ray tracing. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that. I'm going to go ahead and untick that, and let's go to ray trace reflections. You're going to click on this, click on bounces, sample per pixel, shadows, and I'm going to change this to area shadows. And then I'm kind of afraid to increase this, but to get rid of this noise right here, first of all, you got to make sure that your shot is not underexposed because the shadows are very noisy. And second of all, you can get rid of that noise by increasing your sample per pixel right here. So I'm going to go ahead and increase it to 4. All right, you kind of see it's not as bad as 1. You see that right here in his arm? So with that being said, these 3 settings right here, not that one, sorry, the ray trace, ambient occlusion, global illumination, and then ray trace reflections, those are the things that I was messing around with. Pretty much a trial and error when I made that short film. Granted, guys, like I said, I've only been learning this thing for 2 months, so I might be doing stuff wrong, but I'm just telling you how I did it when I created that short film, which if you guys are interested, I can go in more in-depth on how I created that thing or how to do something very similar, because I didn't do HDRI environment for that short film. They were actually CG environment. So if I increase this to 6, you can kind of see that that noise goes away. So basically, this right here, before when they released the RTX cards, I honestly thought I did not need it. The reason why I upgraded to an RTX card for my 1080 Ti is this. An RTX card will give you a much better performance than a non-RTX card when it comes to ray tracing. The RTX cards are meant for ray tracing, so I'm going to push this to 12, and I can guarantee you we're probably going to crash here. Okay, I guess not. Well, that's good. So that's probably the highest I can go with this setup, and as you can see, I mean, I'm not gonna be able to get a good playback here, but I only changed the ray tracing to maximum when I'm ready to export. When I am still editing animations, I have this turned off. Well, that's one of the cool things about Unreal Engine is you don't have to turn these on until later on when you're ready for export. Additionally, if your computer is struggling, you can always change the lit to unlit, and that's gonna make it a little bit better. You kind of see it's loading a little bit faster, but you're not gonna get you're not gonna get an accurate lighting scenario on your CG element. All right, guys. Well, I honestly hope you guys learned something new today, and I'm very sorry that took a little bit longer than I intended for it to be. If you guys have not voted for my short film in the My Road Reel website, go ahead and check out the comments below and the description below. Please do support my CGI short film, and I'm gonna be promoting that from now on until it is over. Help me out, and what I'm gonna do is actually, if I do win something from that competition, I am gonna give away one of the items that I am gonna win. So help me out. Make sure you vote. It's called the Blueprint CGI short film in My Road Reel 2020. I will see you guys later.